Good morning, everyone. Thought I'd just pop in for a quick chat. I'm just going to move this and get this organised. Just wanted to talk to you about a couple of things today, and also do a little bit of an unboxing with you. I've just got this Vello wireless shutter sent to me. So if you are watching, just pop in and say hi in the chat, just so we can all have a chat together. And then basically I'll talk to you about the Tamron lens that I'm getting, and also I'll do the unboxing with you. G'day Tom, good to see you in here. Let me just move this over. Let's have a look. So say hi guys if you are actually here. So we've got Tom in at the moment, we've got Brian's here as well, LTT is also here. We'll only give it a minute or so guys, just to let everyone pop in. And then we'll start for the day. So it's not going to be a very long one today, but you can fire away some questions if you have any questions that you'd like to ask. I'll give a little bit of time for that at the end, because I'm also going to ask for some advice from you guys too about time exposure and stuff if anyone's done it. And you might be able to leave those in the questions down below if you're not part of the live chat. But yeah, I'm just going to give it about another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll all have a start, because there's a few popping in now. It's quite chilly today. I'm just getting ready to do some editing and things like that today. No shoots planned today, just some wedding editing actually. So that's what I'll be doing today, and probably for most of this week as well. We've also got Johnny's in now, Scott's here as well, Socrates is here, and Jen's here from Germany. Jeff is here, and my YouTuber. Hi David from the UK, Jordan. It's great to see you all here guys. Thanks so much for supporting me and following me. I love having these live chats with you guys. I really do enjoy it actually. Anyway, so I'm going to switch over to the Osler Images sign, and then we'll get started on the chat. So bear with me just for a second. Good morning, everyone. Just did a real quick pre-show just to sort of let everyone get on board. If you can, I'd love you to give me a thumbs up, guys, if you are watching live now. It does get it out there. And basically, it just sort of promotes the channel a little bit. I've got a couple of things that I want to talk to you about today. But before we do, I just wanted to give a quick promotion to our photography and videography website. Let me pull over and I'll show you what we've got here. Please, if you haven't joined this site, please join it, because it's doing really well now. We've got around about 1,400 members now. And basically, it's a site that I've put together for you guys to sort of interact with me and each other. It's a very positive site. It's great. I'm allowing people to share all their businesses, pages, their Instagram, their video feeds, basically everything. The only thing you can't do on it is broadcast live. That's just for me to do. But, it's just a great area now where people are popping all their images in. You see Gilbert's posted in some work there. We're getting all people sharing their videos in there. Obviously, I'm posting in all the time and having chats with people. But the work is just stunning that we're getting through here. Rui's just put this gorgeous photo on of this little girl. It's just a great positive environment. So please, if you haven't joined, please join. I will put that down below, the link down below anyway, but I'd love you to come on board. We have a weekly competition where you can get to be put into the header of the page. And there's a beautiful story around this. I'm not going to explain that. You can read that if you join us or if you're part of the group. So please join that group anyway. It's the Photography and Videography School. So I'd love you to be on board with us there. Now, let me just come down here. Now, I wanted to talk to you a couple of things. Now, before I do the unboxing, I wanted to talk to you about the Tamron 28 to 75mm. I've had a conversation with Tamron yesterday, and I am getting the lens on the 28th. So I will be able to have that lens for you on the 28th. So I'm going to organise a shoot with a model on that day. It won't be Kiara, because Kiara is actually going to be away on holidays. So I am going to have to put a call out for another model. So I'll probably do that through multiple channels and just choose someone that I want to work with for the day. Or the week actually. So I may actually photograph Kiara the following weekend with it before I have to send it back, because I've got it for the full week. Now, what I wanted to ask you was, naturally you can talk about it in the chat too, but I'd love you to actually mention it underneath. In what would you like me to test with that lens? I've got it for the whole week. I think it's going to be shipped out late this month, as well to people. So I may get it before a lot of it has been shipped out. Well, I'm actually getting it on the morning of the 28th. And then my intention is to take it that day into Melbourne, do some shooting, and also do some shooting into the evening that day as well. So I will have extensive time. Like I said, I've got a week to actually test it. So if you would like me to test anything for you, if you're wondering about how it would work on something, any test that you'd like me to do, that's why I've put this up so early. Leave them in the comments box down below, and I'll have to try and write them down, and then I can test them all for you when I pick that lens up on the 28th. Like I said, it's still a week and a bit away, so there's still a little bit of time. I'm not allowed to get access to shooting photographs until the lens is officially released, so it must be released about that time as well, but I'm not sure if it'll be shipped out to most people, so I may have earlier access than what a few of you have got. The other thing too is the back order is going to be quite high on this lens, so a lot of you may be waiting for the lens anyway, because I think, as you've seen, Tamron apologise for the pre-order, the delay that's probably going to happen. So if you are on that pre-order, you might be waiting, and there may be some questions that you want me to answer before you actually get the lens. I just want to pop over briefly to the chat just to see if anyone is actually saying anything in here. Most people are just saying hello. Scott said, come to Scotland. We'll give you a chill. I love Scotland, Scots. I was there probably 5 years ago. I adored it. And I'm definitely going to come back to Scotland, that's for sure. What else have we got? Socrates Vello saying, we love you too. Thank you. I hope that's me. Gene said, how is the zoom on the Tamron 28-75? Is it loose, secure? Well, I tested it, Gene, on the day that I had it, and it seemed to be really nice actually, but these are things that I will test fully when I've got more time with it. That was just a real quick video test that I wanted to do to show you how the autofocus worked in that lens. So when I have it extensively for this week, I'll test all these things out for you. That's why I'm asking you guys, what would you like me to test for you in full? And I'll do all these things for you. So that will still be answered. But I did have a brief test of it, Jen, and it did seem really nice. It was actually really good quality. It seemed to be really nice, that lens in your hand. So I must say it does seem to be like they haven't cut back on the way that it's been made. It does seem like it's really good quality. Stacey said, good afternoon, everyone. Finally made a live episode again. Keep missing them. Good to see you in here, Stacey. Socrates, I heard the weather sealing. I heard it has weather sealing. Can you test that? See if my... I don't think I'm going to be doing that, Socrates. This is actually lent from Tamron, so I don't think I'll be doing a weather sealing test. That might be for someone else. I'm certainly not going to damage the lens, that's for sure, or the camera. But it is a good question, but it's something I suppose it's going to have to be answered by someone or me, perhaps when I buy the lens. Brian said, please see if you can get the same banding as the GM when shooting in backlights. I haven't seen that banding, Brian, so it's going to be interesting. Some people are seeing it. I think with anything with that banding, you can force banding to be there. The way that I shoot, I just haven't seen it. So for me, it's not an issue. I think if I probably tried to force it, perhaps I could get it to show up. But to be honest, I'm not worried about that banding issue at all, because for me, it's not an issue, and I just haven't seen it with any of my lenses at all. I might try and do that test, though, to see if it does show anything. But make sure you put these questions down below too, guys, because this chat will be basically gone and I won't see it. So if you do want these tests done, leave them in the questions down below afterwards. Stacey said, I have pre-ordered the lens and cannot wait for your review. Really interested in low light performance. That's why I want to try it using it that evening somewhere around Melbourne. I might try that as well, just to see how it focuses under low light, because I haven't tried that aspect of it yet. I've only tried the daylight focusing, which was outstanding, easily as good as any Sony lens that I've got. So, I mean, it's probably not as fast as what the 55 was, because that's just exceptional, but it's perfectly adequate for all the tests that I did. It was outstanding. It felt like a Sony lens on there. So I will do low light, yes. That will be done as a test on that lens. Jose said, hi from Belize. David, tested on a gimbal, portrait and bokeh at 28 and 75. How close to a subject like paper or an object barrel distortion. Okay, there's some things that I can also test. I probably will try it on a gimbal, yeah, just to see if it does work, because that would be interesting to actually have a look at. Do a drop test. You guys, Carl, seriously. Oh, boy. Now you've had me, you want me to destroy it with water, and you also want me to do a drop test on it. I love you guys. It's not going to happen. Lance said, woot woot. Hey, Ollie's here. Panda Photographer said, banding is a force by Sony haters. And that's the thing, I haven't seen the banding like that at all in normal conditions or anything that I've shot with. I haven't had one image where I've looked at it and had banding be an issue. Now, I have to be honest, I have had people send me some images where the banding has been there, and I could see it on their images, and I think it was an 85 1.8 that they had the issue with. I'm using the Batis and I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it with any of my other lenses. So for me, that is not an issue, but I'm not saying it's not real. I mean, it obviously is real, but I think you really have to shoot a certain way to see it, and I just don't seem to shoot that way that I see that problem. So, but I think it is bet up by Sony haters, yeah, and I'm not saying the people in here are saying that, but I think people sometimes tend to get too, they listen too much to the haters out there, and they'll pick anything that they can get to hate on Sony, and it might be a tiny proportion of images that are showing this banding, and yet they make it out to be this massive problem. I thank you so much for that donation. Who was that? Gene, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So I do think you've got to be careful on who you listen to. If you're looking at 90% of the people out there in the industry or shooting this camera, there's probably no issue. You know, 10% might have had that issue, and they're the ones that are whinging about it on social media. So, like I said, I can only talk from personal experience. I haven't seen it. And I'm not going to tell you a lie. I showed you the banding that occurred with the LED lights for the A7 III. I showed you that I was having an issue with that. So if I had banding show up with normal lenses, I would tell you all about that straight away. I just haven't seen it, guys. So what else have we got? Now, Brian said, hi, just wonder the image quality between the Tamron and the 24-105. Yeah, I haven't got the 24-105, so I'm not going to be able to compare that, the 24-105. Unfortunately, I'm probably just going to be able to, I have to test that just as it is, I think. Because I've only got it for the week, I think I'm probably just going to see what that lens can do for me personally for that time. If I can get that 24-105 off someone, well, then perhaps I can test them both together. Gene's saying another live video session, amazing. It's not going to be too long today, Gene, but yeah, just wanted to pop in and have a chat with you about this. Lance said, ordered the 55 1.8 for $700. That's beautiful. You're going to love that lens, Lance. I adore it. Here it is sitting on my Sony A9. Still one of my favorite lenses. And the more I've tended to use that lens lately, the happier that I've become with it again. I would never sell it, but it's one that I didn't use that much. And now that I've started to use it again, I just really adore it. It's just such a fantastic lens. It's sharp, super fast, great for video. The autofocus in video is outstanding. You know, and it's not cheap. I mean, look, it's not cheap, but it is a brilliant lens, and I have to say it's superb. People have been really surprised when they've looked at those videos I've put of Kiara, where I've had it on the gimbal, and saying, how did you maintain focus? And that's the Sony camera and that lens. It's just stunning. To be able to shoot 1.8, you know, wide open, and still track focus like that, it's unbelievable. Hopeaholics is here. Hope you like Pixamine. Lance is here as well. Scott, 55 1.8 is my next lens. I know you're going to love it, Scott. It's just such a good lens. And it's just that beautiful size. You know, like when you're dealing with it sort of on this size camera, it's just perfect, you know. And I really do love it. Great, I haven't got the filter in here. Great for just the small filter, you know, the ND that I can put on. It just works great. Oh, yeah, there it is there. I'm using this filter on it if anyone's interested. And that's the variable one. You'll see if I turn it. Oh, you can't really tell. Oh, yes, you can. You can see through it. So that's the variable filter I'm using, and it's a ProMaster 49mm ND. Fantastic. They're about $90. They're not cheap though, but it's brilliant, and I love it. No color cast put through. And that lens with the ND on focus is fantastic, no issues at all. I'm going to do a review again of that lens because I just love it so much again now that I'm going to do a separate review talking about that lens and showing some of the clips that I've grabbed with it and things like that for you guys. So that will come up soon. Gilbert's here. G'day, Gilbert. Good to see you on board. Lance is saying 68 watching and 19 likes. Thanks, Lance. A few more liked it, so thanks so much for that. What else have we got? Ben said, g'day, Ben. Good to see you in here. Jay said, damn it, David, I bought the 2470 2.8 G Master 3 weeks ago. Why couldn't you travel in time and tell me not to buy it? I still wouldn't say to not buy that, Jay. I mean, that's still a great lens. It's just, I'm being honest, I don't want to lug around that G Master lens weight. And that's the thing. And I've said this to you all along, that the G Master lenses are fantastic lenses, and I'm not bagging them in that way that they're not brilliant lenses. They are. The 70-200 G Master lens is a great lens, but it's just not for me. I don't want to carry around the 70-200 f2.8. I'm happier carrying around the 70-200 f4. And if you've been looking at my images, you'll see how sharp that 70-200 f4 lens is. It's brilliant. And you do not have to be shooting f2.8 nowadays to get great results out of these cameras, because you can bring up the ISO so much without really penalties on the image quality that the f4 versions for me work fantastic. Having said that though, I think Tamron have hit the ball out of the park with this lens, because it's a 2.8 lens and it's really light and small. And that's the thing that appeals to me more about this, that yes, I probably could put this on a gimbal and it would work on a gimbal and things like that, that makes it more interesting for me to think about that I might buy it. So if you've still got the 2.8 G Master, that's still a beautiful lens. But for me personally, I would personally get the Tamron 28-75 before I got the 24-70, and then I'd use the money that I'd saved to get a wide angle prime, and that's the way that I would go if I was in that scenario. But still, don't regret what you've bought. That's a beautiful lens, Jay, so don't feel bad about it at all. Lance said, Mike's in here. G'day, Mike. Good to see you in here. David's here as well. Socrates said, I love my 55 1.82 for $700. Not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I've got to come back this way a little bit, actually. Where are we? Carl Ryan said, some of the test engineers on DP Review were able to get the phenomenon without a lens attached using a laser light. You're talking about the banding. And this is why I'm saying, though, Carl, remember, this is what I want people to understand when you're dealing with photography. There's two ways of looking at the photography. The one way is to look at it from a technician side, and that's where DP Review will do something. If you look at it from my side of being an artist, most of these issues you will never ever see. And yes, you probably could force to do it, but in your normal photography when I'm out shooting there, or you're shooting, you're probably never going to see these issues like banding and things like that. Remember, it's all about art for me, and it's all about what the client wants. It's not about pixel peeping and trying to find something that will make the lens look bad or the camera look bad. It's not about that for me. And like I said, you'll get the 5 to 10% or whatever, probably not even 10%. You'll probably get the 5% that are having issues that make all the noise on social media, and the 95% out there that are using the camera every day won't be having a problem. And they're the ones that you need to think about. Remember, the vocal people are the ones that are online saying all these bad things about the cameras, and I want people that are buying these cameras to understand that. Like I said to you before, I'm not saying it's not there, because someone did send me, I can't remember, it was a female, sent me one of the pictures, and she was having an issue with banding that when she was doing these backlit shots. So the issue is there, but I haven't seen it, so I can't say it's an issue for me, but it may be for you. But I still think it's beaten up. I still think it's nowhere near as bad as what people are making it out to be online. Is Susie with you today? She certainly is. Let me just pull back and you'll see Susie's over there, guys. Looking happy. Actually, she's looking away from me. She's not very happy. Oh, I love it. Dwayne said, hello, I'm currently using the 55 Zeiss. My A7R3, would you keep it or buy this? Oh, hang on. Hello, I'm currently using the 55 Zeiss on my A7R3. Would you keep it or buy this? Oh, I have a budget for only one A7 III. Do you mean, would you keep the 55mm or get the 24-70? Is that what you're saying, Dwayne? Oh, well, I wouldn't sell it. There's no way I'd be selling the 55. No way. I mean, I'd be saving up and buying that 24-70 as a lens when you can afford it, because that's just a great lens. 55 is a great normal focal length. It's around that 50mm. The 35 and 50 are basically as your ICs, so I wouldn't be getting rid of that lens, no. Hairy Scary Mark, love that name. I've had banding on my A6000 when using mechanical shutter. I've only had it around LED lights when using my Godox flash. Yeah, I think they're not talking about that though. I think they're talking about this banding that you'll get in skies and things for backlit shots. I think that's what they're talking about. Panda said Susie's not speaking to us today. Socrates said I love my 55 too. David saying hi. Where are we? Mike's here as well. Lance is saying, I use my 85 Sony at Mother's Day and love it. I know it's a great lens. That Sony 85 is fantastic. Steve is here from Adelaide. G'day, Steve. Good to see you here. Lance, I'll look for that ND filter. Please link it. Yes, I will. It'll be down below. It's part of the links anyway, Lance. Michael said, good evening. Congrats for the 10K. I'm still stalling with my Switch, but the more I hear from you guys, the more I'm shifting. Thank you, Michael, and thanks for saying about the 10,000 subscribers. I really appreciate that. Mick said, I'm waiting for the Hoya variable ND filter to arrive today. Yeah, Hoya are good too. I've got a few Hoya filters as well, Mick. Martin said, just purchased the 55 for $900. He did get another good price on that one, didn't he, for $700. Like I said, I've never regretted buying that lens. It's just that I didn't use that lens as much as what I used to use it. So, you know, that's an important thing for me now that I've started to use it again. And that's why really I'm very reluctant to ever sell lenses, because you just never know when you're going to fall in love with them again. The thing that you've got to understand is that cameras you will get rid of. The bodies itself you will replace. Like I've been doing, you know, every year or so or whatever, I've been buying a new body. The lenses, that doesn't happen that way. So you always are better to buy good lenses, because they will go with you for years and years to come. And like I said, I really am falling in love with this 55 again. If you check the last video that I just did of Kiara yesterday, just let me bring it up and I'll show you. Where are we? I'll just bring it up so you can have a look. And let me go to my page. Because it's just stunning, you know, like that lens is just so amazingly good that this part here was all shot with the 55. Let me just rewind it so you'll see there. So this is all shot. I mean, look at the beautiful rendering in that background, you know, it's just stunning. And like I'm shooting 1.8 here, and it's giving that gorgeous depth of field that's there. It's nailing the focus on Kiara without an issue at all. It's on the gimbal. And it's working so well, and you know, and that's why I'm falling in love with this again so much. It's just, I just adore it actually, to be honest. Let me just close that again. So yeah, it's really changed the way I'm shooting again now, and I just have fallen in love with it so much. Slingman said, where are we? I've got to find it again. Oh, Slingman said 24-70 GM Master is an amazing lens for travel. Yes, it is. But there's one thing that I'm finding about the Tamron. I like to have more of the longer length often, and having that 78mm is actually quite a good thing for travel. So some people are saying that the 28 is not wide enough. I think that's probably okay for me. And definitely then all I have to travel around with is a wider angle lens, prime lens for anything wider than that. So I think particularly that the Tamron 28-75 is an amazing travel lens, because it's only 550 grams, really light. No, I'm going to talk about that remote in a minute, Ben. G'day, Michael. Good to see you in here. Socrates, if you are into pink elephants, then banding might come across as cool. From what I've read, it's possible to get something that resembles banding on the camera with a sensor with a PDAF array. Exactly, and I think you can find it with any PDAF array camera, and that's the thing. You can. Lance, do you still use a Sony 35? Yes, I do. I use that all the time, particularly for travel. Kerry, often when we're shooting a wedding or whatever, when she's my second shooter, loves that lens on the camera. And it's so sharp, that lens. Yeah, I do use that all the time. It's another lens that I certainly wouldn't get rid of. And it's also a focal length that's my favorite focal length at 35. Any focal length, any suggestions for Astro? JP, look, it's not really my forte. Someone else might be able to help you in here. You just need a wide angle and obviously, hopefully something around 2.8. But no, it's not really my area to comment on. Other people might be able to as well. Vinky said, at last I'm getting my A7 III this week. What's your opinion of the 85 1.8 FE in video use? Well, it's the same as the Batis and it'll work fantastic. You can't go wrong with that lens. It's brilliant. So yeah, you're going to love it. And I use the Batis on video a lot, but to be honest, like I said, I'm using the 55 more than any other lens now on video, which I just adore. But the 85 1.8 would be fantastic too. It just gets a little bit close sometimes if, when you're dealing with anything other than sort of headshots, you really have to go back a fair way. That's why I tend to like the 55 and the 35 for video. Dwayne said, just bought Alienware, returning a new iMac. Do you use... I use Mac, Dwayne. I'm really into Mac. I love Final Cut. So that's why I use Mac. Yeah, my whole house is Macintosh. I'm not saying it's any better, though. It's just what I use. And remember, I came from a high-end retouching area and things like that, and they were always Mac-based. So I've always come up from using Mac, from the magazine industries and stuff that I work for, things like that. KO said, zoom wide-angle lens for landscapes, what would you suggest? Well, 16 to 35 is probably perfect, and I love my 16 to 35 f4. That's probably what I'd recommend, and that's what I use all the time, and I adore it. I love that 16 to 35 f4, and you've seen me even use that for portraits recently, and I think it's a fantastic lens. Gilbert said, awesome footage. Thanks, Gilbert. Batushi, I think that's pronounced as. I managed to get on, just getting into photography. Been shooting on the A6000 for a few months now. I want to upgrade to Tamron A7 III with the Tamron 28 to 70. Just need to save some cash. You can't go wrong, especially look with that A7 III, and if you're getting the 28 to 75, brilliant lens. It really is a brilliant combo. Yeah, you can talk to Panda. He loves Astro. Hope you like pics. Said, hello, I'm currently using the Canon 60D with a Canon 15 to 85, 7200 f4, Tamron 45 1.8 and the Tamron 10 to 124. I am saving for the Sony A7 III and would like to know if it will be okay with the adapter for the glass. Yeah, it will be. You'll be fine as long as you use something like the... what is it? I always forget the name of the adapter, the SM11 or whatever it's called. I've forgotten the name. I've gone blank. But yeah, with the adapters, to be honest with you, they used to struggle, but the thing is now with the A9 and the A7R III particularly and the A7 III, they do work very well with adapters. But having said that, they're not as good with video. So that's one thing you do have to understand, that they won't track as well with video. But in stills, there's no issue at all. But they do struggle a little bit in video. What else have we got? Rocking on for Astro. Yep, good idea. You can get the 14mm as well, which works really well. JP said, I would sell your lenses, better to go native. Yeah, and that's true if you can. It just depends on whether you can actually use the money for that, though. That's the issue. Oh, thank you so much, Lance. Really appreciate that. I will do the unboxing in a minute, guys. I just want to make sure I always give you the answers to the questions that you come up with. Joris said, I'm interested in low light filming with the Tamron, and that's what I'm going to try out. I will try video as well when I get that Tamron lens on the 28th. So I'll do some stills for you and also do some video focusing and stuff like that too, so you can see how it works out. So I'll let you know about that. Kevin said, hello, I stumbled upon your channel. I like your stuff. Do you have a video about the Samyang 35? No. Look, I haven't, but I can tell you what, I've used that lens before though, and it's way too noisy for video. I wouldn't recommend that lens at all for video. It's way too noisy in the focus. Oh, that went bigger then. What else have we got? I have the 16 to 35 GM. I'm wondering if you really need the extra 2mm and get the 14 to 2.8 Rocky on. Oh, you're talking about the Astro. No, I think 16 would be okay. Snapclick said, do you ever use a Wacom tablet for post-processing? Yes, I do. I'm using one right now, actually. Use it all the time. I love it. I've got the Medium. That's the one that I'm using. It's the Medium Pro, I think it is. It's the latest version anyway. Where are we? MC11, yes, that's it. It was the MC11 adapter. Yep, I'll just show that so you can see it. The adapter was the MC11 adapter. Will you be doing retouching videos in the near future? Hope to, Michael. Lance said, the Panda photographer... Oh, that's okay, he's just talking to the Panda. No, I've tried that Astro Pad and it didn't work very well for me. It doesn't work as well as a Wacom tablet. So if you are going to do anything like that, definitely go down the Wacom way. I wouldn't be using Astro Pad. I've got that now on my iPad Pro and it just doesn't work as well. It's just not as good. Thank you for all your help. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Snapclick said, he's talking to someone else. MC11 adapter, yep, was the adapter. What else have we got? Richard said, I heard the f4 is a sweet spot for portraits. Well, look, to be honest, I do shoot most of my portrait works at f1.8 or f1.4. I always like to shoot wide open, and that's just the way that I like to shoot. And I'll open the thing up just so you can see. I mean, if you look straight away, I'll just show you from yesterday's shoot that I put up. So bear with me just for a minute while Lightroom opens. Let me go to here, rated. And let me just come down. I've just got to reduce this for you so you can see it. And let me just quit this. I notice I'm on Mac too, and I've had this process that keeps coming up whenever I launch Adobe applications. It's driving me nuts. All right, so basically if you're looking over here, you'll see that even though I'm shooting this scene here, I'm still shooting here at 1.6. I'm nearly always shooting wide open. The second that I'll go to something like the Batis, you can see here that I'm shooting 1.8. I love that rendering. Now, not everyone loves to shoot that wide open, but I just love to shoot that wide open. So for me, it's a really important thing that I can give that gorgeous depth of field, and it's just what I like to do. So for me personally, I always like to shoot something that is wide open in the aperture, and it's just the way that I actually love to shoot. You know, I love that rendering in the background. The Batis is razor sharp, and I just adore that type of look, and that's why I nearly always shoot wide open, and it's just something that I do. And now with the Sony cameras being so good with their eye focus and face detect, it's so easy to do these type of shots. So it really is, you know, a bit of a game changer in that respect. Let me just come back to the chat. I'm still going to do the unboxing, but you've all asking interesting questions. Let's see, what else have we got here? Blue Scarf, I said, I'm new to your channel. I thank you for the great content. Would you buy the A7 III kit or body only plus the new lens? No, I wouldn't buy the kit lens at all. No, I'd buy another lens and then get the Tamron lens in replace of that kit lens. There's no way I'll be buying the kit lens. They're not very good, so stay away from them. What What else have we got? Hopeaholic said, thanks, David. I'll give it a try, but down the road, I'll replace my glass with the Sony lens or Tamron. Yep, that's the way to go. Which version of the iPad Pro do you have? I've got the 9.7 JP. Kevin said, thank you, answered my question. Thanks, Kevin. Lance said, yeah, I had my A6500 last year. Pretty noisy results, but probably user error. I find it's pretty clean, Lance. I've been quite happy with the A6500. The thing to do, though, honestly, if you are using any of these cameras like the A6500, well, it's actually any camera. If you are dealing with ISO, you must not underexpose it if you're dealing with low light. You have to go a little bit to the right because you basically don't want to have to pull the shadows up, because the second you start to pull the shadows up, you're adding noise. So be dead on with exposure or a little bit over with your exposure, and then you won't have any issue with noise. So that's something that you do have to consider if you're dealing with that aspect of it. And so I think, Lance, it's just user error that's giving you noisy results, to be honest. Mario said, hi David, if money was no problem, would you consider the Tamron 2875 over the Sony? Yes. Well, like I said, money's not that issue with me. Remember, I'm running a business. I could afford to do that and write it off on tax. I just don't want to carry around that weight, Mario. And to be honest, the 28 to 75 I think is a great focal length. When you guys feel that lens particularly, you're going to be so surprised in how nice and light and small it is. And that's the thing. It's not money. It's just what's usable for me. What else have we got? The Panda Photographer's here. G'day, mate. How you going? Oh, no, I said that before. Photo Meek's here, I meant to say. G'day, how's your Thailand trip? You still over there? Still enjoying yourself? Lance said, love your pics of Kiara in today's vid. Well done. Thank you so much, Lance. Love that tan t-shirt, David. Looks good. Thanks, Michael. That's funny. What else have we got? The Panda said, do you do any time-lapse or astro? Oh, that's talking to Panda. Well, I want to talk to you about that because I'm going to need some help in how to run that, because I do very little of it. Jay said, hey, David, anywhere we can share pictures with you? Definitely on the Facebook page, Jay. Join that photography and videography school page. That's the place to share images with us. That's the place to do it. And I'll leave the link down below after we finish here. Gerald said, g'day, Gerald. How you going? Dwayne Norfleet was editing with the iPad Pro and Affinity Photo. However, it can read A7 III files. Do you think they'll update it soon? Probably. I mean, it's only a matter. You've just got to wait. JP said the new iPad Pro 10.5 works a lot better with AstroPad. Yeah, it probably does. The screen refreshes at 120 Hz, so it's a lot more responsive. Plus, the CPU is faster. All right, so let's do this unboxing anyway. But now, before I do that, I'll show you which image I've actually got here, which thing I've bought. So I bought this. So I got the Vello wireless. Now, the reason why I bought this, let me just come back to here for a second. The reason why I had to buy something like this is because I found that I do need to probably start to do more time-lapse type work. I've noticed a lot of wedding videographers and stuff are adding time lapses into their wedding videos. So that's for me why I probably want to move more into time lapse. I've done very, very little of it, and it's something that I'm not very good at. Like I always tell you guys, I'm honest. I'm not very good at it. So it's something that I'd really like to learn how to do. And even though my A7 R2 has it built in, I've very rarely ever used it. So now that I'm using particularly the A7 III and the A9 so much, I've had to come up with a solution to do time-lapse, because they've got rid of the time-lapse app in there. So it's a bit of an issue, isn't it? So what I've had to do is find a solution that will give me time-lapse. Now, I hope I've made the right decision. I mean, I've got no idea. I just Googled this and this came up. So I'm hoping that this works well, and people can chime in whether whether you think it's any good for what I've bought. But I got a really good deal though, because B&H actually at the time sold it for $50, and I jumped in and bought it then when it was actually reasonably cheap. Now it's $99.95, which is 132 Australian, it says. Someone's just said S&Q mode has 1 frames per second. Yes, that's true, Elric. And I have done that before, but the problem is if you want to do something a bit outside of that, S&Q mode is just not good enough. So I want to try and learn how to do time lapses properly, and I might want to do things for over 1 frame per second and things like that, if you want to get trailing lights and stuff like that. So anyway, let's have a look. So I bought this. So this is the unit that actually came in. So it's the Vello. Now I hope I've got the right version. It says down there that it's, what is it, 99 continuous shots, 99 wireless channels, timer delay, extra long exposure timer, and interval timer. So this is what I've bought, and it says on the back, there's a whole stack of stuff that it talks about on the back, and it basically says that it's perfect for macro photography, astrophotography, time-lapse recording of blooming flowers, sporting events, etc. And it works in the 2.4 gigahertz radio system, and it has 99 channels, and it'll work from a distance of up to 250 feet. So that's it. So let's open it up anyway, and we can have a look, because I don't even know what's in it. So it'll be interesting to see. And I believe it works off batteries. I'm not sure what even the batteries works from. Now, I believe that that's the important part that you have to get, and I hope it's the right one. It says the Sony. I think it's the right one. I'll just check in the camera. So I'm looking forward to giving it a go, but like I said, I'm going to have to... yeah, it does. Yeah, it fits in the bottom port, actually, so it'll fit in that bottom port down there. That obviously attaches to the actual unit itself, I'd say. Yeah. So in that, you get... What do you get? So let's have a look, see if I can open this thing. Oh, there we go. So there's obviously instructions, which I may have to read. You know what? I'm shocking. I never, ever read the instructions on anything. So it's going to be interesting to see how complex this thing is, and hopefully it's not too complex. But then you get this as the actual package. So what you're getting is obviously a couple of 4 batteries. It must take batteries in the transmitter and also the receiver. So this, I think, is the hand module. Feels really nice, actually. It actually seems like it's really well made. And that's obviously the unit that goes on your camera, because you can see it's got the adapter that sits on the top of your camera. And so this is both of the 2 units together. Plastic, obviously, but it feels really quite nice. So it's got a good feel about it. Like I said, they're 99, and I have paid for this too, by the way. I did pay for it, but I only paid for $50. So I will put it in links down below if you are interested in getting them. But I noticed they are up to $99.50 now. But like I said, I paid $50 when it was on special, so it seems to be really good. So anyway, if people can give me some advice, I would love to know some of your advice for doing the time-lapse. You can leave it particularly in down below, because like I said, we're not going to be able to see this afterwards, the actual live chat, but I'd love to know some tips on doing it, because like I said, it's something I've got to learn how to do, and I'm really excited about doing it. So before we finish, I'm going to come back to questions and just finish that before we go, and then I'm going to go and have a play with that time-lapse. What else have we got? The Panda has said it's like Trigger Trap. Dwayne said Alpine Labs has a great item called Spark that for $75 is great, and I just bought it. So does that do the same thing, Dwayne? Is that a very similar device for doing time-lapse, is it? I haven't heard of that one. Gerald said Vello stuff is very good. No worries. Thanks, Gerald. Looking forward to trying it. By the way, too, if anyone is in Melbourne and you would like to join me on that 28th when I do the shoot with the Tamron, just hit me up in a message or something in Facebook on that photography videography school. You're welcome to come out for the day and have a look with me if you want to come around with me on the day. Panda said the photography can be paired to your phone. He's talking about other things there, I think. Gerald said the Miike grip has a wireless remote that works. Yes, I know you mentioned that, and you said you were very happy with that, Gerald, which is good. Norfeet said Alpine Labs is garbage. Look at Facebook, at Instagram, they have no customer service. That's half of the problem sometimes with some of these companies, when you can't get any customer service if there's issues. Joe said, I have the same one. They also rebranded it as Hammer. Oh, okay, is that the same one you're talking about that I've got? I use the wide-only version for 5 years now, the Intervalometer, only without the wireless transmitter. Wireless seems more versatile. AA batteries, yes, it does. It takes, it takes the smaller batteries, yeah, the AAA, yeah. what else have we got? Kieran said, thinking of buying a full frame camera. I use the Canon at the moment. Thinking about going for A7 III for wildlife and landscapes. You can't go wrong, Kieran. Honestly, that there's more than enough resolution on the A7R III for anything you'd ever need to do for landscapes and stuff. That's the area where I would still say you're better off going for the A7R III than the A7 III, is if you're dealing with landscapes, architecture, and also wildlife, where you may want to have to crop in. There's a big advantage with going for the A7R III. Remember, there's still definite points for using the A9, the A7R III, and the A7 III. If you're dealing with a general camera overall that will do everything, I'd say the A7 III is the camera to go. JP said, I think it's always best to avoid using as little wireless as you can. And it probably is. It's just that was the one that I saw. I mean, sometimes having wireless can cause other issues, but I'm hoping it's okay, JP. The Panda said, you can also plug the cable directly into the remote if you don't want to use a wireless receiver. Oh, okay. Good point. JP said, Kieran Lane, A9 will be better for wildlife, but doable with the A7R III. You need a faster lens, including the 100 to 400. The A9 would only let you down if you need a resolution, JP. That's the thing. If you've got a long enough lens, it's not going to be an issue. But if you do have to crop, the A7R III is the better camera. But then you haven't got as good focus. So, you know. Joris said, I'm a hardcore time-lapse photographer, and I agree. JP wired TL is perfect, at least for me. So thanks for letting me know. What type of time-lapses are you thinking, day or night? Probably everything, JP, because like I said, I want to do them for my wedding highlight videos that I do. I do a lot of fusion now, so I want to be doing time-lapse for the bride. Like, it might even be that I just go outside and photograph or do a time-lapse of the clouds just coming over. I just want to add some variation in my wedding videos, and I'm thinking time-lapse might be the way to go. I may be also leaving it in the reception area and have it where it shows the reception venue being finalised, like them putting the flowers in and putting the cake in and setting up lights and the band setting up and all those sort of things. I might leave that running inside there. So there's multiple things that I'd probably like to do. But yeah, it's just to add some variation, you know, that's really all that I'm doing. So it will be day and night. Stuff like that, it'll all be totally different. Michael said, I have the DLC. They're about the same wireless system, okay. JP said, I would suggest reaching out to Matthew van der Poot. He's a professional time-lapser in Sydney. Interesting. Mick Petrak said, any more news on the meetup shoot? Yes, it will be. I'm waiting. Kiara's going away for 2 weeks on holiday, so I'm going to wait for her to come back, Mick. So I'll be doing it when she gets back. I think she's away for 2 weeks from this Friday, so it will be when she comes back. Stay tuned, and I will let everyone know when that Melbourne shoot's going to be. But like I said, people are welcome to come and meet me if they like when I do the Tamron shoot if they want to. But if you wanted to, say, meet Kiara and myself and Kerry and everyone else, that will be a shoot that we'll do on probably a Friday or a Saturday evening. We're not sure yet. It'll be around about 3 weeks away. Dwayne said, yes, there's an app for the iPhone, plugs into the flash slot. Kevin said, is the 51.4 Zeiss worth the extra price when compared to the 55? If you couldn't tell, I'm looking at purchasing a new lens. I have the 85 and the 28. Look, the 51.4 is a beautiful lens. It is beautiful. I don't need that weight, though. I'd prefer to personally get the 55 because I love to throw it on a gimbal. So I think the 55 is more sort of universal in the things that you can use it for. I've used the 50 in the camera store. I tried it to see if I really liked it. The focus is nowhere near as fast as what the 55 is, though. So I personally, if it was me, I'd be getting the 55 over that. I'm not worried about losing that, you know, fraction of aperture. Cheers, David Ladd. I already have the 16 to 35 and the 100 to 400 from Canon. I have gone to a bunch of photography shops and the salesmen all say Sony is doing very well and Nikon is doing terrible. And I think that's probably going to be the case for a while, Kieran. I hope they do survive. I really do. I really hope that Canon and Nikon survive because Sony need the competition, and I've talked about that before. JP said, take a look at MIOPS Smart Intervalometer. I just started dabbling into time-lapse myself using a motorized 3-axis gimbal slider. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that with gimbals and stuff, and motorized gimbals. They look really cool. That may be something that I can get into a little bit later on as well. Can you use the phone to press the shutter, or is it not available? No, you can, but you can't really do time-lapse with it. Mike said, I used the A7 III with a Canon 100-400 on Metabones V and it works perfectly. Thanks, Mike, for that. So Mike's saying he's really happy with the Canon lenses using the Metabones V. Jose said, yes, you can. However, we're talking about time lapses. Yeah, that's exactly right. What 3-axis slider do you use? I haven't got one. They're just talking to someone else there. And that's about it. I think we've caught up for everyone's questions. So like I said, guys, I would appreciate if you have any suggestions or comments about time-lapse, please leave those down below, because like I said, I can easily get to those and read them as well. So that's a great feature. Don't forget, if you have come in late, because there's a few that have actually popped in late, leave me some things that you would like me to check when I get the Tamron 24 to 78 mil, 28 to 75 millimeter on the 28th, Monday the 28th, because I'm going to go straight out and shoot with it that day and do a review for you all. So let me know if there's anything that you'd like me to check on that day. Apart from that, guys, if there's no other questions, I think it's just about coffee time, and it's time to go and play with this just to see what I can do with it. I'm just seeing if anyone else needs any last questions. I don't think they do. All right, guys, stay tuned. I will have other videos up this week, and looking forward to having a chat with you down below. Please join the photography and videography school if you haven't. And apart from that, just leave any questions down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Please give me a big thumbs up if you can, and I'll talk to you again soon for the next video. Catch you guys. See you soon. Bye.